It's back to school for Peshawar children a month after a massacre in the school the Army public school in Peshawar has reopened today. The school still bears the mark of the attack with the bullet marks on the walls. Though school authorities have ensured that security arrangements are tightened, it will be a tough challenge to ensure that students feel safe returning to school. The administration in the province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa extended the winter break in schools. In the wake of the attack, authorities have been asked to build walls around the government-run education institutions, extending it to at least 8 feet. Community policing is also part of the efforts to ensure security. 150 people, including 134 students, were killed last month when Taliban militants stormed the high-security school and launched one of the deadliest attacks in Pakistan. We have Smita Sharma joining us on the phone line, and in a moment we'll also be joined in by Hamza Amir, our correspondent from Islamabad. But Smita, this is a huge message that Pakistan is in fact giving. We played a couple of reactions also of children who said that we are not going to be scared with any such attempt.
Absolutely, Sanket. You know, these are very touching visuals, in fact, touching pictures. And since morning, we've been seeing that across, the local media networks or even across the social media sites, people have been pouring in these messages of solidarity and how, they think that it's lovely to see the children go back to school. But, obviously there are just too many apprehensions here at this point, Sanket, because even as these children go back to school, those gruesome, those horrific images of the Peshawar attack that killed so many innocent children, at one go. In fact, they still remain absolutely afresh, and not too many assurances at this point in time that we will not see a repeat of such attacks in near future, because there is no foolproof security really that can be guaranteed, and especially given the kind of context that we are looking at today, the kind of world scenario where we are looking at today, where, a lone man can also create absolute havoc. It doesn't need to be an organization to be effectively working all the time. So clearly, all these days, of course, schools, colleges were closed, which was why even in Lahore, which is the capital of the country's biggest state, Punjab, there also we saw colleges, states, institutions, they were shut down because there were massive apprehensions of terror attacks. But clearly life has to move on. This was the reason why the India-Pakistan bus service that operates, in fact, it has stopped operating in terms of a bus service change on the Wagah side, which is on the Pakistani side. For people to proceed from Wagah to, of course, Guru Nanak's, the holy site there, or to Gulbarg in Lahore, they have to make their own arrangements. But clearly the government felt that you cannot go on with shut institutions. That is not a reply to terror. So we have these children headed back to school now.
That's right, Smita. Do stay on with us. In fact, let's quickly listen in to all the reactions that came in from those school students who are now heading back to Peshawar. They obviously can't forget that horrific day, but this resilience that has in fact been shown by children in Pakistan is for all to see.
चीजें नहीं डरती, मैं स्कूल आऊंगी। मैं बहुत दिनों बाद आई हूँ स्कूल, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। मैं किसी से नहीं डरती हूँ, मैं पढ़ूंगी। मैं ये बोलना चाहती हूँ कि दहशतगर्द चाहे कुछ भी कर ले, हम लोग नहीं डरेंगे। हम लोग अपने स्कूल जाके सारा काम करें। मैं इसलिए रो रही हूँ कि उन लोग ने वहाँ पेशावर इतने सारे बच्चे मारे, उनको शर्म नहीं आती है कि इतने छोटे बच्चों को मार दो, उनको शर्म नहीं आती। हम लोगों ने उनको क्या बिगाड़ा है।
लेकिन आप तो बहादुर बच्ची हैं
जी।
क्या पैगाम देंगी आप कौन को?
मैं ये दूंगी कि क्या नाम है, बच्चे बिल्कुल बहुत अच्छे से जाएं स्कूल, और क्या नाम है, अच्छे से पढ़ें और अपनी पढ़ाई कंटिन्यू करें, और दहशतगर्दों से डरने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है। तुम लोग आगे बढ़ो, आगे बढ़ के काम करो अपने, और सारी पढ़ाई अपनी मुकम्मल करके फर्स्ट आओ इंशाल्लाह।
All right, let's quickly cut across to a Pakistani television station, Geo TV. They're reporting live from outside the school.
यहाँ पर कोई ऐसे सिक्योरिटी के इंतजाम भी दिखाई नहीं दे रहे। तमाम जो यहाँ पर स्कूल का अमला है, उनके पास मेटल डिटेक्टर जो है वो ज़रूर मौजूद हैं। यहाँ पर बड़ी तादाद में आज पहले रोज़ के बावजूद जो है वो तलबा और तालिबात यहाँ पर पहुँचे हैं। उनका कहना है कि यहाँ पर जैसे भी सूरत हाल हो, हुसूल इल्म से उन्हें कोई रोक नहीं सकता, और उनके जज्बे हमने देखे हैं खासे बुलंद हैं, और बड़ी तादाद में यहाँ पर जो है वो तलबा पहुँचे हैं, और पहले रोज़ जो है दर्स तदरीस का इस वक्त जो है आगाज़ हो गया है। जी, बहुत शुक्रिया जावेद नूर आपका।
All right, Smita is still with us. Now, Smita, this is Pakistan's story where we are seeing resilience. Whether you call it resilience or compulsion is something which is, an open subject of debate. But, what if, this is not something that needs to be said, but what sort of preparedness do we have here in India if, God forbid, something like this were to happen?
See, Sanket, regardless of all the apprehensions, we do agree with one fact that yes, the Indian society, while we have faced terror attacks in the past, but ours is not a Talibanized society, at least yet. And, following those attacks, in fact, I had personally visited a lot of schools out here in Delhi. A lot of these teachers came out with genuine arguments. They said, even while we can have 2 armed guards outside the school, but children cannot be coming in here to schools with a sense of being chained, without a sense of freedom. They need to feel liberated because here is the place where the foundations are laid as far as their futures are concerned, where they can ideate. And even if you start searching and frisking all parents and individuals who come into school, that will also add to the woes. But they definitely have steps of security. Having said that, those bites that you just played out, Sanket, on air, they reminded me of these young girls that I had met in Swat just 6 months before. In fact, Malala Yousafzai was shot down by the Talibanis. And, those young girls were so resolute. They also came out, that was the time when army operations had intensified across Swat. And these young girls came up to me and said that, yes, we want to become doctors, engineers. Or some girls said that we want to be educated because we want to be learned. Even if we don't pursue a professional career or not, is something which is secondary, but we really want to gain education. So these girls, these civilians, you're right when you say that, there is an argument whether this is resilience or whether this is compulsion. Because if you look at what the government has done so far, it definitely raises a lot of questions. Yes, they have handed over special trial courts to the military, which in a way is being seen as tipping the balance off in the favor of the Pakistan Army again. And if you look at the executions that followed, the Peshawar attacks, that were just going through some breakup, which seemed to suggest that 7 of the people who have been executed were really people who were behind Pervez Musharraf's assassination attempts. 2 people were behind the sort of attacks that we saw on the Pakistan Army headquarters, the GHQ headquarters in Rawalpindi, and only 1 person has links with Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, which is known for the sectarian strife that has caused in Pakistan. So clearly, has the Pakistan civilian government and all the political parties done enough to make sure that this resilience of the children, this determination that they are praising, does not go in a way, unrewarded, and the children find a secure atmosphere is something I don't think the Pakistanis really have too many answers to at the moment.
Absolutely. Smita Sharma there getting us all the latest. The school has reopened. Of course, the school bears the brunt of that terrorist attack, the dastardly terrorist attack. Some precautionary measures have in fact been taken by the Army Public School in Peshawar, where there was a proposal to increase the height of the periphery wall to about 8 feet. But amid all of that, the resilience of the children as well as the parents is that the education must continue and students must go back to school. And that's exactly what is happening at this moment. These are live visuals that are coming in at this moment from outside the Peshawar school, the Army Public School, which has reopened. These are students who are walking inside the school compound, posing for the camera. Many of them, in fact, spoke to the media who were standing outside. Many of them little children. They spoke to the media and said that we are not scared. Perhaps they don't understand the full impact of what exactly happened, but most certainly seeing blood strewn all across, it might have left an impact on them. And that is why you saw some of those children even broke down. They started crying when confronted with those questions. Perhaps were reminded of those horrific scenes that played out in front of them just a couple of days ago.